right, we'll call the meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, call the roll, please.
Campbell.
Here.
Dempsey.
Here.
Fournier.
Here.
Hammond. Here. Crop.
Here.
Menser.
Here.
Voorhees.
Here.
Okay, announcements, acknowledgements, communications, and reports. Don't believe we have any. Is there anyone from the commission that has anything? Okay, we'll move on to adoption of the agenda.
Mayor Krapp, I move that we adopt the agenda other than moving from the consent agenda, item number B, and we will move that to be item number D and F as in Frank.
So 9F, you mean?
Yeah.
9F, yes.
You said D.
So just to be clear for the clerk, we're going to move agenda item 10B, Administrative Hearings Bureau, second reading, to 9F, be Administrative Hearing Bureau, second reading. Okay. Okay. Anybody have any questions or comments on that change? Okay, hearing none, call the roll, please.
Campbell.
Yes.
Dempsey.
Yes.
Fournier.
Yes.
Hammond.
Yes.
Crop.
Yes.
Menser.
Yes.
Voorhees.
Yes.
Okay. We'll move to public participation. This is the portion of the meeting where we, it's one of two opportunities that we invite the public to address the commission. All that we ask is that you give your full name, your residential address, and you abide by our 3-minute rule. We will address the public that's in person, and then we will address the public that is with us on Zoom today. Whoever would like to approach the microphone first, we'll go ahead and take.
Good evening, Gloria Haller, 260 Cass, Mount Clemens, or as I fondly refer to it, Mount Cesspool. I'd like to thank Commissioner Menser for the attention she's been trying to draw to this water issue. Understand, folks, GLWA is big-ass hurry to get a hold of our money as a contract. They got to settle a real score with Highland Park. I'm not paying for Highland Park's water. I also want our own source, and it's not emotional. Don't try to dismiss it as being, oh, it's an emotional issue. Horse pucky. It's a health issue. Don't ever forget that. Number 2, your current interim city manager is on day number 137. Can anybody count from 1 to 90 and stop? You need to replace him. Of course, I realize one of the first things he did when he came in was get rid of the HR director, which means there's nobody there to find somebody to replace him, so that's kind of job insurance. You need to get him out of there. Thank you.
Who's Nicole?
Thank you.
Mayor Laura, Commissioners, Chuck Belmore, 972 North Esplanade, here to comment on the water plant issue. Know a little bit about it.
Yeah.
A little history. In the early 80s, the city had a contract to go to Detroit with its wastewater services. They got wind that there was some grant money available, so they went ahead and broke their contract with Detroit. They had to take them to court and sue them to get out of the contract. Then when they went to build the plant, the state of Michigan turned them down on the grants. So they had to use general obligation bond money. As a result, of course, they paid an exorbitant amount of money to build the wastewater plant. They sued the state and the EPA for the grant money, and that was right when I came into the city. And the last thing I did was go to Lansing there, and they turned us down flat in a summary judgment. So we ended up not getting a dime. And it was 20 years of high sewer bills. And as you can see, they're still up there pretty good. The water system got an early start in 1888. They built the first plant down at Shady Side Park, and then they moved out to the lake in 1929, built a plant there, and at its height, it served as far south as the city of Fraser, as far north as Waldenburg. It had 80,000 customers, 80,000 people. It had all three townships, Clinton, Macomb, and Harrison. As Detroit water moved up, they broke away from, Clinton broke away, then Macomb broke away, and in 91, Harrison Township broke away. And at that time, the revenues dropped tremendously. And of course, it was a real chore to keep the plant running 24/7. We had to cut the shifts, put security guards out there to run things. And money, we're scraping the bottom of the barrel. Anytime we asked for money for improvements, it was an absolute no from the administration. So things got real tight and really bad there. But we had good people working there. That our generation, we tried to fix things ourselves, and we managed to get along, get all the new pumps in that we needed, get the water treated to the customers. Quality was always on our minds. We did the best job we could with what we had. L'Anse Creuse Bay is not as great a source for source water as you'd think. It's under the influence of the Clinton River, and because it's so weedy in the summertime, there's a lot of organics in the water. That lends itself to some impurities, and it's hard to treat at that time. Great Lakes water is very good quality water. It doesn't have the high level of impurities during the summer that Mount Clemens would have for the chlorinated byproducts. So I want you to take all those things into consideration when you vote.
Thank you. Okay, is there anyone else who would like to address the commission at this time?
Good evening. I'm Raymond White Jr., live at 425 Clinton River Drive, Mount Clemens. Sorry for my tardiness. For some reason, I had this on my calendar at 7 o'clock. I assume a lot has been said about this water, but there's a lot of things that haven't been said. As our quality is diminishing to the point that I have rust stains every 3 days from our city water. I had my water tested, it came back hard and high in calcium. They told me it was going to deteriorate all the appliances that I had connected to the city water. Now mind you, I know how bad the Clinton River is, and what he said is true. I live on the river. The river is so bad you can't stand the smell half the time if you go down and near it. But that's neither here nor there. Army Corps engineers will have to pay to finish the dredging that they stopped at the Market Street. If they dredge it, it'll flow better. The second thing I want to bring to your attention, and it only affects those of us that live on the river, or near the forest, and that's these Canadian geese. We have come to the conclusion that we might as well just stop fertilizing and weeding our lawns because the geese tear it up so bad, and their droppings keep bringing in all the bacteria that I don't need. My lawn care people have told me you keep getting refreshed on bacteria. I said, is it coming from the river water? They said, no, it's not the river water. It's all these droppings. And the geese dig the grass out at the roots. I have pictures for those that would like to see it afterwards. 2 years ago, I addressed this commission and told them what they needed to do about it. Nothing's been done because the geese keep growing. Right now, any given day, 30 to 50 geese on my front yard, or worse, across the street at the school. Now, what is that doing for everybody that's going in and out of that school? On the driveways, in the grass, the kids' play area. We just spent the money and put that nice water fountain down on Clinton River Drive near the shady side. But the geese like it too. Anytime you go past there, you'll see the geese there. And if you got geese there, you have their droppings. An adult male can drop 1.5 pounds a day. We need to do something about these geese. I had a permit to do it, but I couldn't find any nests. They're still protected. We cannot shoot them, but we can kill their eggs. But you have to get a permit to do that. The permits are free. You attend one meeting, the permits are renewable. City hasn't done anything about it. You go down North River Road, on the riverside of North River Road, and what do you see? Geese.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to address the commission?
Hi, Patrick McKay, 1207 Wellesley. As usual, I got flyers. I got handouts, so if I could start over here and send them around.
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you.
Okay. First of all, as was said earlier, this is not necessarily an emotional issue, but I want to thank the mayor. She brought up stewardship at the town hall meeting we were at. Stewardship, as defined in Merriam-Webster, is the careful and responsible management of something entrusted to one's care. Stewardship of natural resources. It's not necessarily a monetary issue, which brings us to the economics of this whole water department issue. First of all, the numbers that are presented, the 17 million versus the 45 million are incorrect. The bottom line is it's going to be 17 million no matter what we do. Therefore, you have to use the bottom line as a base, 17 million. To go to Mount Clemens to rebuild our system is an additional 28 million. So our system actually costs 28 million, not 45 million. Let's get that straight right off the get-go. If you break it down, everybody's going to be paying $145 a year no matter what. An additional $239 gets our own water. $2,900 over the course of 20 years versus $47.80 additional for Mount Clemens. You've got to keep in mind what we're paying for Mount Clemens water is what's above that $17 million. And the $17 million is going to be used to destroy our infrastructure, take out our water lines, rip down our plant, do everything and like that. It's not even going to be used to increase our value of our city. I broke it down to, in truth, over 20 years, we're going to spend 66 cents a day to have Mount Clemens water. That's what it's going to cost us, 66 cents a day, not the numbers that are presented. In addition, to consider are things like depreciation of the hard goods, appreciation of the land, which goes up approximately 11% per year at the moment. We've got bond ratings we have to consider, collateral that our city would have by having our own water plant, things like that. And if you look up chlorine, the reason why people use chlorine in pools is to kill germs. Mount Clemens doesn't use chlorine in their water. Why? Would stand to reason, germs. Detroit does use chlorine in their water. Where are they getting it from? The Detroit River around Belle Isle? Why would you put chlorine in your water except to kill germs? And we're going to be drinking that, showering in that, putting chlorine on our bodies? That was one of the issues that I would have had and do have. And I think a politician a while back said something about drinking Lysol if it could kill a particular virus. That was a bad idea. I don't think I want to drink chlorine either. So Great Lakes Water Authority money at the end of 20 years will be all gone. $17 million is thrown away. The money we put into Mount Clemens is investment money. And as a steward of our city, I'd like to see our money invested, not thrown away. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else at this time who would like to address the commission?
Ron Hurtubise, 51 Maross, Mount Clemens, Michigan. Fresh drinkable water is a limited resource that we are all fortunate enough to live in such close proximity to, let alone have direct access to. We are truly lucky. I contend that we should vote to build a new water treatment plant. Having control over such a scarce resource like fresh drinkable water is key. The investment we make today will pay off, and its value will only increase in the years and decades to come. Thank you.
Thank you.
Marilyn Hall, 300 Clinton River Drive, Mount Clemens. I just wanted to say I take care of a man who lives in Shelby Township. When they had the water main break, I had to go to a park in Shelby, pick up water, haul it to his house because they were on the Great Lakes water system. It just doesn't make sense to me. Now, who is paying for that? Will that be added to our bill? Why are we so anxious to join with something that we already see is failing.
Ruthie Stevenson, 69 Bain Street. Having attended all 4 of the meetings concerning the water, I came to one conclusion, in that we must maintain our own. I agree with what this young man stated here and what this gentleman stated here. We as a community have to start dealing with who we are. Once we give up our rights to what we have as some of the best water in southeastern Michigan, as opposed to Great Lakes problems. And if you were to research some of the issues and the problems that they have, what makes you think that that 17 million or whatever that it's going to cost, it's going to stay that way? It's not. They have a tendency to add to you from their other problems from around the issues in the cities that they're supporting. So again, I state I am for us maintaining our own plant and to continue with our great water source.
Thank you.
Hello, Commission. My name is Brian Baker. I'm the county's appointee on the Great Lakes Water Authority, and I'm also Chief Deputy for Candace Miller at Macomb County Public Works. Certainly this is a local decision that this board has to make. I do want to state some of the advantages by going to GLWA. First, there's redundancies. There's 2 intake sources that GLWA would use to service Mount Clemens, Lake Huron and the Belle Isle intake. GLWA's water is of very high quality and supplies over 4 million residents in the state of Michigan and the vast majority of southeast Michigan. The community would save $28 million. That's over $2,000 per resident, not per household, but per resident. The state, as I'm told, prefers the GLWA option, and why that's important is Mount Clemens would likely have a greater chance of getting low interest financing from the state as well as loan forgiveness from the state versus the other option. Certainly you can sell the land that the other plant is on, and that's valuable. And the city is relieved of potentially costly environmental new standards coming down the pipe from whether it's the state or the federal government if you have your own plant. GLWA also offers a low-income assistance program for low-income residents. They can receive up to $300 a year on bill assistance, $1,500 one time for past unpaid bills, and $2,000 in plumbing assistance or home conservation repairs to their home. GLWA has had much less of water increases over the last 6 years since GLWA has been formed than DWSD. I think it's averaged 1 to 2% increases per year. And it takes 5 out of 6 on the board to set the charges. So the vast majority of the board has to agree on charges. And the Highland Park debt shouldn't play a factor in this decision. And why I say that is Mount Clemens would not be responsible for any of Highland Park's past debt. And of their debt, only 20% is water. 80% is on the sewer side. You would only be on the water side. But I fully expect the Highland Park outcome to be decided well before 2025. So worst case, the water impact will only be $3 per resident per year.
Thank you. Is there anyone else at this time?
Okay, I don't have a dog in this race. I'm a renter, but my rent's gonna skyrocket because my landlord's not gonna pick up the extra $400.
Oh, sorry, your name, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
Steve
Name and
Belcher,
address.
69 Lincoln.
Sorry.
But besides that, it's a tough decision, no matter which way you go. There's gonna be people that don't like whatever decision you make. But it's not a quality of life decision when you have a failing school system, bad roads, buildings that aren't kept up, vacancies everywhere you look, and you're complaining about the taste of water. That 46 million bucks, or however it end up being, is a lot of money to put in what you complain about every day on Facebook. And that's it. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay.
Hi, I'm Patty McKay, 641 Huntington. I've never spoken to the commission before. Thank you for the opportunity. Just a couple of thoughts responding to the GLWA presentation. I don't really think it's appropriate to have someone that's going to benefit from us going to that source or that entity to speak to about our own personal issues. We're the ones that are going to drink the water, and I don't appreciate his remarks. As far as the low-income issues, Mount Clemens has 48% non-taxed property people or entities. Why don't we charge a surcharge to those people for the water that we have, that we use, and then they can use that money to fund the low-income people? As far as the setting aside or forgiveness, loan forgiveness that he spoke to and that I've heard at the town hall meetings, that is all complete speculation and conjecture. There is no certainty that anybody's going to give that to us. Meanwhile, we're giving up a source of income, a source of revenue. How is this commission going to make that up? I haven't heard anybody talk about that. So those are my points. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor Kropp, City Commissioners, George Kale, 180 Grand Ave. If it ain't one thing, it's another. And of course, obviously, I'm here on a different issue, which is the cannabis. So we're getting out of the water business, but we're still going to get into the grow business eventually. Mr. Interim City Manager, as you may recall, the last time I appeared here a few months ago, I had requested all legal fees for marijuana issues related to cannabis here in Mount Clemens. So this was the result up to and through August of 2022. I could either give you the weight or the total amount if any of you are interested in, but apparently we're still spinning our wheels and are still apparently embroiled in some litigation. So the question I have, Mr. Interim City Manager, is when is the City of Mount Clemens going to begin accepting applications for any marijuana business permits that will be issued through the City of Mount Clemens through our local ordinance? This one goes right up through until August, at which time some of the correspondences were with Mr. Tingley at the Community Development Department in regard to zoning amendments. And we never did adhere to the Michigan Zoning Enabling Act by having public meetings. Anytime that you use your zoning map to enact these ordinances, you have to adhere to state enabling legislation. You cannot legislate from this particular body. Obviously, we're going to do the best we can to get competent leadership, but we're going to have to start getting our ducks in a row and doing this the right way. So again, Mr. Interim, I also thank you very much for extending some time to me and clarifying a few issues that I did have. But I would like to know when we are going to start accepting applications for medical business, marijuana business permits through the City of Mount Clemens. Commissioner Menser, congratulations. I understand you're going to be leaving us pretty soon, but you'll never be far away.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to address the commission?
Ryan Theory, 62 Rosebud. You know, I had a case to intervene in this marijuana this morning. It was dismissed. There are some issues along with our presentation. I look at everybody here as friends. I look at everybody here as neighbor. You know, this young lady over here mentioned community, okay? Nothing that's going on is enabling our community. You guys still haven't answered, is this rescinded or it's not rescinded? What my lawyers are telling me now is that there is not gonna be an application process. What they've telling me now is that the city of Mount Clemens has engaged in settlements, and that whatever possible, licenses there were, will be taken by one individual, possibly two, that are claiming that they have a right to 4 applications. I don't want to sue the city. I hope you don't want to fight me. I don't want to fight you. But you guys are chosen here to stand up for us. A few years ago, thing about the flag, who kneels, who doesn't, and I was at the Marine Corps ball, officer, woman, outranked me, and we were talking about it. And she reminded me that people are put in charge to fight for other people. I didn't fight for a flag. I didn't fight for who has the right to kneel or this. I fought for people who couldn't stand for themselves. You guys are supposed to be our people, our legislators. You guys are supposed to fight for the little guy. We spent 3 years as a community trying to put a piece of legislation together that basically is going to get gobbled up by an individual who was the catalyst of why you guys rescinded this in the first place. I believe the words were, it's unsafe to have somebody out there, we need to rescind this, public safety, blocking the door, blocking this. Everybody here knows that I want to put an application in. You guys all knew that. But now we're playing games of who told what person what? Do we have an ordinance? Is it rescinded? Is it illegal, as the judge says, hey, we don't have, this ordinance doesn't make sense? And when are you guys as a board going to tell the city the truth? Hey, we made a mistake. At the very minimum, as your neighbor, look at me and say, hey, I made a mistake. Ryan Theory from 62 Rosebud, we messed up. Because at least I know that you guys are still my neighbor, and at least I know that maybe I still live in a community of people that care. Okay? If you made a mistake, it happens. I like every one of you guys on here. I know it's a hard deal. I know what you guys went through. But look at the other side. Look at the community. Everybody here that wanted a shot and isn't even going to get one. And again, I'm not going to make threats, but why are we doing this?
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to address the commission?
I got to. Marcia Wills, I live at 71 Ludwig. What really has become irritating to me about this discussion, and don't get me wrong, I get it. This is probably, as Glenn has said, the biggest decision you guys are ever going to make for the future of this city. But I need you to ask yourself these why questions. Why is the county pushing this on us? Why do they not want us to retain our autonomy? Why did they send somebody here, very nice bullet points, all right? However, my red flag goes off again. Why do they want us to give up our sovereignty and our autonomy? I don't think it's just because they want us to save money, so I'm going to come down again on the side of building a new plant, increasing the value of this city, and holding on to that asset. Thanks.
Thank you.
Eric Rick, 1689 Hampton. This is going to be the biggest decision that will affect my children, my grandchildren, and sometimes we've got to bite the bullet and pay the bill up front. Sometimes we have to look at what the long-term benefit to the city is going to be. And I don't think Great Lakes is anywhere near as bad as it used to be. I think if we go to Great Lakes, we'll be okay. But I think the right choice for Mount Clemens to stay as independent as we can is to make the investment for the long term. Because in the short and middle term, Great Lakes is obviously the best financial decision. But once you get past that 20, 30-year mark, it makes a little less sense. And this is going to be a 50, 100-year decision. So for me, I'm definitely leaning more towards building our own plant, but it's not going to be easy. Thank you.
Thank you.
This might be the final guy, I don't know. Ron Heaston, 142 Market Street, Mount Clemens. Been a resident all my life here. I'm a little distraught because I was at the last town hall meeting on Thursday night, and at no point did I heard from anybody, some of the commissioners here, that this was going to be on the agenda tonight. You guys had stated that you had until December?
Yes, we did. No, we said,
Okay,
I
all right.
specifically said it was on
Okay,
this
I just
agenda
want to clarify that,
because we
because I'm a
talked
little-
about, sir,
Okay.
right, we talked about exactly how the wording was for the
Okay,
motion.
well, that's why I want to clarify, because we
We don't
had
usually
dates
answer,
of,
but I'm going to answer that one.
dates of like May 1st and then December 2023.
May 1st is the application for the loan amount that's due.
So does this application have to be put in before the end of this calendar year?
We need to decide which project before the end of the calendar year.
Regardless of the project, does it have to be done at the end of this calendar year? 2022,
I
does that?
don't understand your question, I'm sorry.
Does the grant application have to be submitted by the end of this
No,
month?
May 1st.
May 1st? Okay.
1st.
That's what I want to clarify. So there was a little given time there to figure out what we want to do.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Well, there is no time.
Right, there's no time, but
Because we have
we'll
to-
discuss it when it's the agenda item, because we don't usually answer during public comments, so I want to hold true to. Is there anyone else who would like to address the commission at this time? Okay. We will go to the Zoom call then? No one on Zoom, okay. All right, we will close public participation at this time and move on to administrative responses, which on here doesn't look like we have any, but I'll check with you.
There's none.
Okay, from the previous meetings. And we'll move to approval of minutes.
Motion to approve the work session and regular city commission meeting minutes for November 21st, 2022.
Support.
Anybody have any questions or comments about the previous minutes? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Dempsey. Yes. Fournier.
Yes.
Hammond.
Yes.
Crop.
Yes.
Menser.
Yes.
Voorhees.
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Okay, general business. Go to item A, social district ordinance amendment, first reading. I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve the first reading and introduction of amendment to ordinance number 20.017, removing the sunset clause for social districts and setting December 19th, 2022 as the date for the second reading and adoption.
Okay.
Support.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions or comments? Oh, yeah, go ahead, Mr. Shipman.
So when we adopted the social district, we mimicked what the state had, and at the time, they had a sunset provision. They've since eliminated that, so we just want to amend our ordinance to mimic what the state has.
Okay. Does anyone now have any questions or comments? Commissioner Menzer.
I would like to see our social district be a little bit more vibrant. When you compare to some of the other cities that have social districts, then, you know, they have all kinds of activities. They have cornhole, they have, you know, and we do have live music on certain nights. But I would like to see a little bit more vibrant offerings in our social district, not just on Friday nights, but, you know, any night during the week.
Okay, we'll mention that to our Downtown Development Authority. Is there any other questions or comments? I was glad to see that the state made the decision that this was something that was positive for cities or municipalities in general that came out of COVID legislation. And so I was glad to see that they agreed and that they removed the sunset from their laws as well. So it enables us to do the same. Okay. Any other questions, comments? Okay, hearing none, we'll go ahead and call the roll.
Fournier.
Yes.
Hammond.
Yes.
Crop.
Yes.
Menser.
Yes.
Voorhees.
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Dempsey.
Yes.
All right, 9B, DWSRF loan.
Mayor Crop, I move that we approve the application for a drinking water state revolving fund loan in the amount of $45 million for the construction of a new 8 million gallon per day water filtration plant and authorize the city manager to execute the same.
Support.
Okay, Mr. Shipman.
I just have a few things here that I want to talk about. No, I'm lying. There's been so many things said for so many months. I think what I want to say is thank you. First, thank you to the staff who put together a presentation in these meetings with very, very little time. I want to thank all of the residents that came to the meetings, and I want to thank all of the commissioners that came to the meetings.
Want my t-shirt?
And you do get, I did promise a T-shirt for any commissioner that made all 4 meetings. So.
I would, are we starting discussion?
Yes, yes.
I would like to say this. This has been and will be the biggest decision that this commission makes. It's going to affect not only, you know, us who are sitting here, but our children, and believe it or not, our grandchildren also. But I want to make sure that when we make this application to the state, we are going to be one city and there's going to be 200 and some probably making an application also. Is that correct? Am I under that assumption?
Municipalities?
More than that.
Yeah.
Okay, more than that. So timing is everything. If we don't get approved by the state, we have now kicked the can down the road another year. What I would like to see is the administration work with perhaps a bond council and to get language prepared for the next election, which comes up next year in November. That's the next city election. So that we can put it to a vote of the people as to whether they want to approve a $45 million bond issue. And therefore, this can be, you know, so we're not caught, you know, in another time squeeze here. I'm hoping and praying that the state approves this loan. But again, we are going to be lined up with 200 or 300 other cities. We may make it, we may not make it. But I think we need to be ahead of the curve. And that is to work on putting a proposal on the ballot in November of 2023.
Just to respond to that, we are working with our normal bond attorney that we've had for 30-plus years, and we're not far from that right now, so.
But we haven't worked to put it on the ballot. You're talking about just bond counsel in case.
Just talked about the different options and the different language that would be needed to place that onto the ballot.
Okay.
So along those same lines, why couldn't we have an election? Is there no election this year in August at all?
No.
So we'd still have to do a special election if we did it sooner than that. I would rather do it sooner than later, because this is a horrible place to be sitting with this issue. It is just, It is keeping me up at night. And if it was my personal decision, I'd be out there with a lot of you asking to build a water plant. But when I look at all of the facts that we've gone through for the last 6 months, it has been, I'm faced with some real challenges in approving that. One, our consumption is going down, our population is down. We have a very high low-income population. That this is going to be a major difficulty for. And we represent all of those people. And there's a handful.
I'm going to interrupt you, Commissioner Fournier, because I'm hearing some comments from the public, and I'm asking that this is the time for the commission to discuss. We gave the public the participation time. And so I know it's a very hot topic, and everybody wants to put their cents in, but we're going to maintain order, and we will ask people to be removed if you're disruptive. Okay, so I just want to kind of put that out there now so that we don't have to do that. Thank you.
And I heard those comments, and I feel terrible. Feel terrible, okay? Feel like, but I also have to look at all the facts, okay? And the other thing is, it is going to take us 4 to 5 years to build this plant. If you read the Fishback study, I hope by all that's holy that Lenny, 1, stays as an employee, 2, that he can keep that plant together for the next 5 years. Because if you read the Fishback study, it's on the edge of disaster. And I applaud everything Lenny has done to keep this thing going. But as I said in one of those meetings, when we all read the study, I was in shock. I said, oh my God, we got to do something right now. And so that disaster that with the water brain that Great Lakes had could very well be us. And 5 years to keep this thing going is going to be damn tough. And we got to pay to keep that going, along with building a water plant. And our costs are going to go up more than $400 a year. It is just a fact of life. We asked for an increase in water rates this year with a surplus in our water fund. I voted against it. And it is, they don't come down, folks. So we finally get the bonds paid off from the last one, and our water rates still went up. So the water rates will continue to go up for the bond, for operations, and to keep this water plant going. It's not going to be cheap. We have a delinquency rate for water in this city between 40 and 50% right now. It ends up getting added to the taxes. It's a big rigmarole. Some of us are very, very fortunate that we don't get into that situation, but there's a whole lot of people out there that do. And so I have gone back and forth in my mind. I've discussed this. Brian, I do appreciate you coming, because one of the things that I have found in talking to the Great Lakes people and taking the tours, I've been very impressed with the way it's organized, the representation, the communication that they do with everyone. Nothing is perfect, but they are trying to be as much as a community advocate as they can. And they have a capital improvement plan. They are upgrading their facilities. We would have 2 intakes, which we don't have now. And that's a bit of that matters to me. That gives us an alternate if something goes bad on one. So when you take all of this together, and I look at the city getting into $45 million, I mean, with interest, folks, you know, we're not talking $45 million. We're talking 75. Yeah, 70, 80, I don't know. Till we get the interest rate, we don't know. And these people have done their homework. Mr. Shipman, Mayor Kropp, Lenny, the staff, they've done their homework. They have talked to people at the state, they have talked to people at Eagle, they have talked to people all over at the county level. And the feedback has all been, you can be on your own, but you're going to have to pay for it. And we're going to pay a very, very high price. So I'm struggling with this because I think when I look at the financial position we're finally getting into, we're going to go right back one economic downturn, or we have to, I just don't want to get in that situation again. And the other thing is, even though I talk about those water rates, even if we went to Great Lakes or we build a new plant, that doesn't cover all of the water mains and all the pipes underneath. That's not included yet. We have just drive down Walnut in front of Bath City. I mean, we all joke about it, but it's a real problem. I mean, I just did it today and I think, this is stupid. I mean, how many years I've been sitting here and it hasn't changed. So we need, Lenny and I were talking the other day, we need capital for so many projects. We're going to bond ourselves out at 45 million here. You can only have so much debt. I mean, that's how it works. We all run households. We all run businesses. You can only have so much. So when I weigh all of it together, I'm having a hard time going into that much debt for this city where we stand now. I know I'm in I know you're not going to agree with me, and I just want to be straight up with you, though. That's kind of where I'm at. So, getting back to, and I would love to see a vote. That is what we had hoped to do. If we can apply for one of these, whichever one we do apply for, we know, based on the discussions that have been had, that it's a slim to none chance. There's a chance, though, not saying there's no chance, there's a chance, that we can get the low interest rate for the plant. But there's a greater chance to get it for the connection. There's a chance to eliminate that $17 million in debt. Bingo, right off the top. All money that we can put back into the sewer plant, the rest of the water plant, the piping, getting rid of the lead pipes that we have to do, fixing the roads, fixing these buildings, all things that we need to do. But if the people want to do that, we're going to do it. We're going to do what you want. But we need all the people to have a chance to say something. 20-some people here, about 100 at the town halls. That's not all the people. So I want to see a vote so bad. But we have to choose, unfortunately, we have to choose which one we're going to go after. And then we lose an opportunity for the other one.
For this year.
But we could have a vote. And I would not want to wait till November. That's way too long. Because if we're going to go the plant route, folks, we got to get moving. This plant's on its last legs. So, I know that's a lot. And I've driven these guys crazy with trying to fit all these parts into this timeline. I would like to see a vote. I would like to see a special election sooner than later. And then I guess whatever one we apply for, I'd rather apply for one that we have a greater certainty of getting, just in case that's the way it goes. But that would be my opinion.
Commissioner Dempsey.
Just a couple, to piggyback on some of the things you were saying. The problem is we won't know anything until September, so November would be the earliest. I mean, we'd have to work on it between now and November to get it on the ballot. Can't get it on August because we won't know what we're going to get when we put our application until September. Am I correct? September is when we're supposed to hear about it?
Yes.
So
Right.
At that point in time, but if we go with Great Lakes, and like you said, our chance of getting that is probably high because that's what the state wants. They want to regionalize, they want to monopolize. We can't turn around then and put it to the vote of the people because we've accepted it. And that's like putting a shovel in the ground at that point in time. because you've gotten the agreement,
Said we have to vote.
you've gotten the money, you're going to turn it down?
Well, that's one of the questions that I've had. Because whichever one we go for, if we then turn around and have a vote and it goes opposite, can we turn the money down? I mean, that is a
Yes. Short answer, yes.
We can turn it down.
So
Yes.
what's gonna happen is you'll get the priority list in September, which should pretty much tell you where you stand, but you're not gonna actually know for sure till October. But yeah, you don't have to accept the funding.
But what does that do for any other time? You know, I've heard in the past, you start not accepting funding, they're not even going to look at you if you start for anything else. Now, I mean, I'm not 100% sure of that, but I would think that that would play a part. You know, why would we give anything to Mount Clemens if they just turn it down? I mean, that's what we always hear about the grants we go after.
Yeah.
that's what we're hearing about this.
You know?
Yeah, I would agree.
This as well.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
So.
Mhm. Yes, Commissioner Menzer, sorry.
You gonna stand up?
Huh? I'm going to stand up.
I just want to move if you're going to keep
Yeah. So, I have said before, and I will say it again, I am a hard no on the Great Lakes Water Authority system. I believe that we need to keep local control of our water system. I believe that we can do this because when I look here at Plant and Moran today in our audit, it says right here, the water supply system for the year ending June 30th, 2022, we have an unrestricted cash and investments value of $3,197,000. That's $200,000 more than last year. And right now, our debt service, our long-term debt service for the water plant is down to $382,000. Last year, it was at $508,000. So we've paid off, and the year before it was $1.3 million. We paid off $800,000 in a year. We're going to pay this $382,000 off probably by June. And we will have no long-term debt. And we have a fund balance of $3 million. Now, that's not going to pay all of, the $45 million. We're going to end up still borrowing that because I believe, as people have said, that these costs will change. As the supply chain differs, as labor agreements, change, as the cost of doing business change, that $45 million will go up. But so will the $17 million. But what are we going to have in the end? In the end, we have an asset. In the end, we have something that we can say, hey, Southbridge, you want to buy some more water? Hey, Clinton Township, you want to buy some more water? Hey, maybe East Point, maybe Roseville. And as Mr. Baker said, we will not be responsible for the Great Lakes Water Authority bill from Highland Park, because that's over. But can you tell me that it's not going to happen in East Point? That they're not going to be able to have the ability to pay? That it's not going to happen in Bruce Township? That it's not going to happen in Washington? No, you can't tell me that. I believe we need our own plant.
This is definitely a difficult decision. I agree with a lot of what the commissioners are saying, the asset to the city, the impact to the bond ratings, but how it affects our generation, not just us here, for the long term of the city, not just our children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and so on. I'm really torn on this decision. It's a really hard decision to make. Just listening to everyone, hearing at the town halls the different opinions that everyone has to make, going on a tour to the Great Lakes. And we've had a long history here with the drinking water system. So I'm still currently undecided. I'm listening to everyone and currently still taking everything in at this moment.
Commissioner
Can I
Dempsey.
just a couple of things that need to be clarified, too. When we say we have all this debt, water debt, that people haven't paid their bills, it does go on to their taxes, and the city is made whole at the end of the year. So it becomes a county problem. And we keep talking about the county isn't taking enough responsibility. Well, that's one of the ways the county is taking responsibilities, is taking those delinquent water bills. We're made whole. We get our money. So I just want to clarify that, because that has not been brought up in any of the town hall meetings that we've had. I'm kind of basing this, I kind of felt right along that I was going to be a hard no with Great Lakes. Glenn made the comment at one meeting, one person was here, and he wanted to hear from more. So we were able to get the 4 meetings together. And I have to say, even though there may be another 1,000-some people out there, but they didn't come, and I didn't hear, I've received a lot of emails, I've been reading Facebook, been listening, I went to every meeting, and I have to go along with the people I represent, and I listen to the people that spoke at those town hall meetings, and who have contacted me, and who have been on Facebook. And it may not be 15,000 people, but it's enough of you that spoke up. So I will be voting to go with our own water plant.
I also think we do have to take into consideration as we listen to the town halls and having it go into a vote. That's also important. I wish we did have more time and could gather more information, because I do think like we have a lot more information out there that we can take in and that we need to hear from. And I do wish that we could take that time, but we don't have it. But it's just a difficult decision that we all just have to make. It's been put in our lap and we just have to act on it. And I don't think we'll be able to we won't be able to, meet everyone's needs and satisfy everyone. But we're just all, I believe, trying to do our best to make the best decision we think is possible.
Commissioner Campbell.
I have a bunch of notes here that I've made. I attended 3 of the 4 town halls, and I truly respect everybody's opinion and decisions for and against. And they're right. Everybody's right. Not everyone is going to be happy. But I do have a few things here that are going to give credence as to why I'm voting the way I am, because I am voting on facts. We had a presentation tonight that shows that Mount Clemens is in the best position it's ever been in the last 20 years. And the reason we are in this position is because we hire people to advise all of us. And these people give us information as to what we need to do to make decisions so that we end up with plus numbers. I'm not an expert on this stuff. I don't know about my commissioners, but I am not. So I listen to the people that we hire in the administration that advises us, because I am not an expert. Earlier, we had a gentleman come in who used to work at the water plant, Mr. Belmore. He told us tonight that the water that comes in at Clinton, at the Clinton River here, is not as good as the water that's coming in from the other places. I thought that was very interesting. With regards to this comment about the county pushing this, I've been on this commission. I have never heard one person say that the county's pushing this. So if they are, I never heard it. As I said, I went to 3 of the town hall meetings. I respect everybody's positions for and against. But I wanted to do some research as to how, I am a thrifty Scotsman, I'm going to tell you that right now. Since 1960, when the population was 21,000, The year before that, they added the last part of the water treatment plant in 1959. Since then, the population has been going down. Right now, we sit at 15,697 people. That is a loss of over 5,000 people in the last 50 years. Statistically, we lose about 1,000 people every decade. Now, I was at one of the town hall meetings and a resident said, we need a water treatment plant to keep people here and to attract people to this city. I thought that was very interesting. So I ended up calling a real estate agent who lived in this town many years, sold me my house, sold many houses in this town, and I asked of this person, has anybody ever bought a house in this town based off of the water system or asked any questions about the water? Never, was the response immediately. I found that very interesting. I called residents that live in Sterling Heights, Roseville, Clinton Township, Harrison Township. I said, we got a big issue here in Mount Clemens. There is this perception that the water coming from Great Lakes is bad and has a lot of problems. As a resident of Sterling Heights for 89 years, have you ever had a problem with the water? No. I called a friend in Roseville. They've lived there 24 years. Have you ever had a problem with the water? No. Same thing in Clinton Township. I found that interesting. At 3 of the town halls that I went to, health concerns were a big issue about boil water alerts. I was told by the expert, the engineer that the city hired, that in all the cases with the exception of the pipeline up in Shelby or wherever it was, when boil water alerts are issued, it is issued because it is the pipes that are coming into the city, not the water from the Great Lakes. I found that very interesting. Today, they were repairing a water line on our main or whatever it was on Church and Floral. We hire independent water experts and engineers to advise us. I am not a water expert by any means. I don't know about my other commissioners. I am not. So when we hire people to give us advice so we end up making the correct decisions, I'm listening to these experts on their advice on what we need to do. I didn't know this. Everybody's talking about 15,000 people living in the town here. It's not 15,000 people paying the bills for the water. It's 5,900 accounts. That's all that we have, as 5,900 accounts that are going to support this water plant. Last year, there were 8,300 late notices handed out. If we raise the water rates 50%, how many late water bills are we going to have? I found that very interesting. It says putting a $3.75 million bond payment over 20 years. When I did the math, if we pay a bond of $3.75 million every year, that comes up to $75 million, not $45 million, because it's not taking into consideration the interest rates. Again, this is what the experts have given to us, and I am not an expert. I found that interesting. Again, we must still pay for infrastructure updates. The pipes that are here in the city, that's not, Great Lakes is not going to pay for that. We're going to pay for that. I fully respect everybody's voice, but we only heard from 2% of the people. I was at Meyer today and I ran into a constituent and wanted to know what was going on in the city, and when I told them, they didn't even know about it. Now this person and their husband are both 80 years old. They didn't know anything about the water, what was going on. I found that very interesting. I do not feel comfortable putting a $75 million bill on a city already taxed to the limit. when independent experts have given their advice to us. I'm not an expert. I've been hired by you, the voters, to make the correct decisions based off of what the experts have told us. And the experts have told us, independent, the engineer that we have had at the city for, how many years is, they have been here, I don't know how many years, but they've been here a long time.
Nine.
So, this is why and how I reached my decision. And based off of this, including what Mr. Belmore made today, I don't feel comfortable saddling the city with a $75 million bond when we have an alternative that, based off of the experts have said, is equally safe and meets the same guidelines we meet here. So that is how I reached my decision. I'm not shuffling off anybody's opinions because I value everybody's opinions. But based off of all this research that I gathered and the people that I talked to, this is how my heart and gut is telling me I need to vote. So that this city, yes, we're getting ready to pay off the water bill, and now we want to jack it up to another $45 million bond. To me, that I wouldn't even sleep at night. So, that is how I reached my decision. As I said, I respect everybody's opinion. I hope that you respect mine based off of what I found here. Thank you.
Thank you. So there's a lot of information already said, and so I don't want to belabor, but I feel very similar to Commissioner Campbell in the terms that a lot of the information that you've given, especially with the facts. In the beginning of this process, my immediate reaction to the problem of our aging water plant was simply, let's figure out how to build a new one. But after I took the time to sit and learn about the issues, I really felt my mind shift. We have 5,900 water customers, as Commissioner Campbell has said. On average, we have 40 to 50% delinquency of water bills on any given water billing cycle. And yes, the county makes us whole. But that's an indicator to me. That's an indicator that 40 to 50% of the people that live in Mount Clemens, or the households that are here in Mount Clemens, can't afford our existing water system, let alone a 50% increase. Those figures tell me we have a large population who can't afford, and in October, this commission balked at AEW's recommendation that we raise our water rates by 5%, stating our residents couldn't afford this type of increase. Yet now we're considering a 50% increase to be reasonable? We compromised and only raised the rates by 3%, knowing that that rate was insufficient to really meet the needs of both the water and sewer plants. If we were to build our own plant and have this enormous debt strangling us, we will again be in a position where we can't have water rates that will enable us to maintain the water plant 10 to 20 years from now. I'm not willing to set up the next generation of the city for this failure. I have struggled in the past days since these town hall meetings. I've listened to the 120 people at those meetings, and the several that have called, the several have Facebook messaged me, and the several that have emailed me. This number represents 2 to 3% of our water customers. They were supportive of building our own water filtration plant. And there were many voices, and I have from the beginning supported putting this initiative on the ballot. I do believe that every voice should be heard. I do understand my role as mayor, and our role as the commission is to listen and do what the city wants. But that doesn't mean 2% to 3%. That means all. And so I, too, would support a ballot initiative. I will not support this Graf's debt. Our audit firm said to us today, that we are now in a position where we can make the strategic moves that we need to make in order to be a successful city. But if we put the debt ratio back up to here, we will not be in a strategic position to make our city prosperous in the other areas that we also need to address. And those aren't just areas that are like things we would like to address. They are areas that need addressing just as badly as this. So while I would like my own plant as well, I can't support building our own plant if it means this type of debt service. It's not realistic. It's certainly not. It's not how I would choose to run my household. It's not how I would choose to run my business. And that's why we were elected, to make decisions that are smart for this city. Does anyone else have any questions or comments?
I would just like to point out that we do not get water from the Clinton River. We get it from Lake St. Clair.
Okay, I think we're ready to, we need to make mention that right now, what is on is, we don't have a motion to include a ballot initiative, right? It's not
No,
included
it's
in
not.
there. It's only is included in there right now, it's just the,
When I mentioned the ballot thing, it was just.
kind of a directive.
If this doesn't go through, and
Mhm.
we won't know that until September.
Right.
Are we prepared to have something on the ballot for November? That was the only thing that I.
Everybody's good with that, right? Clear with that?
What would be the latest date that you would have to have notice to actually get something on a ballot?
I think it would be in August.
Yeah.
That's what I'm not understanding. I don't think we have to wait, because
We can call a special election for August.
Exactly. I mean,
we just have to pay.
Approximately, just a
$15,000?
guess.
15, 20 to $20,000 is to hold a special election.
Nothing.
So we could do that in
August.
But then what if it's voted down?
Yeah, we could
That's
do
the
it in
only thing.
conjunction.
Like, if it's
Right,
voted
I mean,
no, then
right.
we're-
I mean, those are
that's-
things we'll have to think about, but it is technically, we are capable of that, and it is lawful.
Yes, of course.
I thought we couldn't do it until after we heard, but you can do it in conjunction.
Well, like you said, I mean, it puts us in a position where we might be turning down something if.
Well, that's
Right.
my concern.
Right, exactly. So, I mean, we will definitely have to think that through.
We're really caught in a vice.
I feel like maybe like a boa constrictor is really. All right. Everybody good?
Yeah.
We know what we're voting on. Okay. Call the roll, please.
Hammond.
Yes.
Crop.
No.
Menser.
Yes.
Voorhees.
Yes.
Campbell.
No.
Dempsey.
Yes.
Fournier.
No.
Okay, so we had
4 to 3.
4 to 3.
Okay. So the motion passes. Okay. All right. We will, sorry, I'm taking my iPad a second here. Okay, so we will go ahead and move on to 9C, smart contract. And I want to thank everyone, because that was a long and arduous discussion. So thank you, everyone who sat through that. And thanks to my fellow commissioners. So moving on to 9C, the approval of fiscal year 2023 purchase of services contract between SMART and the City of Mount Clemens for Mount Clemens Dial-A-Ride. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the fiscal year 2023 purchase of service contract between Suburban Mobility Authority for Regional Transportation, SMART, and the City of Mount Clemens as presented, and to authorize the execution of the contract by the appropriate city officials.
Support.
Okay. Mr. Shipman?
So this is an annual contract. I'm sure you've seen this before. We have to annually reapprove a new contract with SMART for dial-a-ride services.
Yes, we do.
Okay, are there any questions or comments? Commissioner Menser.
Yeah, I just have two things. One, I just want to point out on page 4, the two things that just really tickle me, because I've only ever seen them in the SMART contract, and that is the interest of members of Congress. No member or delegate of the Congress of the United States shall be permitted any share or part of this contract or any benefit. I find that refreshing that it is actually in writing in this contract. And it also includes the interest of public officials. No member, officer, or employee of any public body during his or her tenure, et cetera, can have any interest. I think that's refreshing because you do not see that very often in contracts spelled out so specifically, and I'm very happy about that. The other thing I wanted to point out, the Mount Clemens Optimist Club, we adopt kids at Christmas from the high school. And one of the things that, we get things that they need, but we get something, that they want. And one of the wants this year that was repeated over and over again for some of these kids was an AMC movie theater gift card. And I wondered why that was, so I asked the guidance counselor. And they said because these kids ride the SMART bus. They can ride the SMART bus down to Gratiot and 15 and go into the regional shopping center and go to the movies there. But they cannot get out to Partridge Creek or Lakeside Mall or to the theater that's on 23 in Romeo Plank. This is the theater that they can get to because they utilize the SMART bus. So when you think about who's riding this bus, think about the fact that we've got kids riding this bus. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like it to be noted that someone from, other than Commissioner Menser, needs to, pick up where she left off for next year. So if you could highlight in your contract, because she always mentions that, and she won't be here next year to mention, unless you want to come back.
Yeah, well,
you have Mondays. So,
email us and we can
right,
take turns.
exactly. So we'll miss it. Is there anyone else have any questions or comments? The only comment I would make is that I thought your anecdotal story was excellent, but I just want to be clear. This is for dial-a-ride services, right?
Right.
Not,
It's part of
which
the
does
SMART
not
thing.
go, I just want to be
It's part
clear,
of
it
the
doesn't
SMART.
go to the AMC.
No.
It doesn't go to the AMC, because I don't want people to call dial-a-ride and ask for the AMC, so, but the
But they
dial-a-ride,
could
this
if
is the.
they wanted to.
No,
Yeah,
No,
they could call dial-a-ride
No.
if they wanted to.
not Mount Clemens Dial
Not
Ride.
Mount Clemens dial-a-ride to go to.
They can go in
They can go on
Clinton
the
Township.
regular bus line that goes down Gratiot, but they can't
They
take
can
dial-a-ride.
the
to-
dial-a-ride to the regular bus line.
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Got a winning point.
It's just not a one-way ticket to the AMC. I just don't want anybody
Glad
to
you're
be.
gonna get to go.
I don't want anybody to. All right.
That was a good one.
Are we good?
Yes.
Okay. Call the roll, please.
Crop,
Yes.
Menser,
Yes.
Voorhees.
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Dempsey,
Yes.
Fournier,
Yes.
Hammond.
Yes.
Okay. We will go to acceptance of the fiscal year ending 20/30/22. I'm sorry, June 30, 2022 financial audit.
I move. Go ahead,
Either
Rush.
one.
Either one. Go ahead. Go. I move that the Mount Clemens City Commission hereby accept the city financial report and management letter from the fiscal year ending June 30th, 22, together with the independent auditor's opinion letter and report on internal controls on financial reporting for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2022, as presented.
Support.
Okay. Mr. Shipman.
Plant Moran was in for our workshop to present the annual audit. Hopefully they answered all of your questions, and all that's left to do is approve it.
Yeah. Just so everybody knows, we had a presentation from Plant Moran, and we discussed it, and we asked questions, so this is just a formality.
At 6 p.m. for the work session, so it was a posted meeting that everyone could attend, and there was no, it was very transparent, so. I want to thank Cliff and his staff, there you are, Cliff and your staff, for all of the work on the audit. It is a pretty arduous process, and want to make sure that we give you a shout out and your team, so thank you very much for all that. And also, we should note that the audit was a clean audit, was a...
Clean opinion.
A clean opinion.
It was
correct.
the best audit they've had, and I'm fortunate enough and glad to be able to sit here and see such a great financial report, considering the past 20 years.
Yes, it's excellent. Okay, anybody, questions, comments? Okay, call the roll, please.
Menser.
Yes.
Voorhees.
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Dempsey.
Yes.
Fournier.
Yes.
Hammond.
Yes.
Crop.
Yes. 9F, Administrative Hearings Bureau, purchase and payments. I was getting ahead of myself. Sorry, purchase and payments of invoices. I will entertain a motion.
Move to approve purchases and payment of invoices as presented.
Support.
Anybody have any questions or comments? I don't see a tab.
Nope.
Okay, hearing none, call the roll, please.
Voorhees.
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Dempsey.
Yes.
Fournier.
Yes.
Hammond.
Yes.
Crop.
Yes.
Menser.
Yes.
Okay, now 9F, Administrative Hearings Bureau, second reading. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion, motion to approve the second reading. Is it written there?
It
Oh,
should be in there.
That's the old one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
it's just motion to approve the second reading and with the changes,
One change.
with one change.
Changing page 2,
Okay,
paragraph A, from
Did you get that,
city
Kathy?
manager to city commission.
just what he said.
I'll
Page
give it
2,
to-
paragraph A.
Paragraph A, change,
It was just a type,
delete the word manager and insert the word commission.
it was just a typographical error.
And it was corrected.
And it
but
was corrected
somehow
originally, but it didn't get in here, so.
In this package.
No other
are we clear,
changes.
Kathy?
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
excellent. Okay, now does anybody have any questions or comments?
I needed a second, though.
Oh, sorry, we need a second.
Support.
Supported by Commissioner Fournier. Now, does anybody, yes, now does anybody have any questions or comments since it's the second reading? Okay, hearing none. Roll call, please.
Voorhees.
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Dempsey.
Yes.
Fournier.
Yes.
Hammond.
Yes.
Crop.
Yes.
Menser.
No.
Okay, moving on to the consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve consent agenda as presented.
Support.
Call the roll, please.
Campbell.
Yes.
Dempsey.
Yes.
Fournier.
Yes.
Hammond.
Yes.
Crop.
Yes.
Menser.
Yes.
Voorhees.
Yes.
City Manager's report. Mr. Shipman.
I'm happy to report that the fire department had 2 applicants that accepted offers of employment. They're now in the hiring process. This will bring us to a full staffing of 12 firefighters.
Congratulations.
Community development, just completing interviews for our new rental inspector position, so we should have an applicant to bring before you at the next meeting.
He doesn't come before the...
No,
the
but we'll
commission.
announce it. You don't have to vote on it, but we'll announce it. Tinsel tour, many of the trees are decorated and Christmas lights are spectacular this year downtown. So please visit the downtown for a great Christmas experience this year. Recreation is busy as usual. They've got postcards that will be sent out to all residential addresses somewhere around December 21st. And they'll be announcing our winter schedule of activities and how to access activity information. Bus trips, fitness, dance, enrichment classes, social clubs, and more will be available for youth, adults, and senior citizens. Registration will be required for all classes and available online 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Walk-ins, drop-box, and mail registrations will also be accepted. Exciting things are happening, so follow their Facebook page for the most up-to-date news as we continue to build recreation together. Upcoming events, November 18th through December 23rd is the Downtown Decorating Contest. Vote for your favorite decorated downtown business. Ballots are available at all participating businesses. November 18th through January 1st, just a reminder that holiday parking is free after 3 p.m. and is always free on Saturdays and Sundays. Please visit one of our many fine downtown stores for your Christmas shopping needs. And on December 10th, the Mount Clemens Light Parade will be on Macomb Place starting at 6 p.m.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions or comments for Mr. Shipman? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to the second opportunity for public participation. All that we ask, again, is if you come to the microphone, give us your full name and your residential address, and that you abide by our 2-minute rule this time. And again, we'll address those who are in person with us, and then we'll go to Zoom. So the mic is open.
Really? Come on, nobody's going to get up? Come on.
Are you tired?
Eric 1689 Hampton, North Clemens, Michigan. I'd just like to say to the commissioners, thank you for the time and effort you've put in considering this water plant issue, getting the word out on this water plant issue, weighing all the costs and benefits, and best of luck in moving forward from here.
Thank you.
Brad McKay again, just I want to reiterate, thank you. Thank you all of you.
Ruthie Stevens of 69 Dane Street. I have to concur with the gentleman that got up and spoke. Thank you guys for your service, and thank you for, I know it was a hard decision for you to make when you got it, but sitting in the city commission meetings when you decided, maybe we need to start asking the people what it is that they want. We can make those decisions ourselves, meaning you, the commissioners, but we want to hear what the people have to say, and I appreciate you guys having done that. Having attended all 4 meetings, it was very informative, to tell you the honest truth. And for those who haven't attended, I don't know whether they were recorded or not, you know, they weren't. But there was a lot of good information out there concerning from both sides. But again, I thank you guys for the decision that you made.
Thanks. Thank you. Anyone?
Marcia Wills, 71 Ludwig, reiterating and agreeing with everybody, thank you, thank you, thank you. Question though, because we're asking the state for the loan, that's what this motion was for, right? And everybody's learned opinion is that we're probably not going to get it. And if we're not, then what's the next step? Can we still get have our own plant? I mean, that's the $45 million question, right? I mean, I don't want us to just not everybody think, oh, okay, we're getting a new plant when things might change. So everybody has to keep paying attention, right? And can we have something working in the background too? I mean, we're going to need plans for the new plant. Is this, I know you can't answer me now, but this is something to think about. You know, we need to have somebody working on that, right? To architect, or, I mean, we need a plan to build a new plant. Right? That's,
yes.
We're thinking about that.
We do.
Not Ron, because Ron doesn't want anything to do with it.
I'm a thrifty Scotsman.
I know, Penny wise, helpful.
Is there anyone else who would like to address the commission at this time? Okay. Anyone on Zoom? Okay, thank you very much. We will move on to commissioner comments. Commissioner Dempsey.
Well, just to kind of answer a little bit what you were saying is, this is a plan. And our first step was to see if we can get money to help us with the plan. So either way, whichever way it turns out, we have to continue to come up with a plan because we know we have to do something, you know. I also read the Fishback report, but I didn't take it as dire need as some of the other commissioners did. I figured they were telling us this is a plan, and you need to get a plan together within the next, few years. So that's kind of where I see, don't know which way we're going to go at that point in time, but we have to wait and see what happens and that. But thank you for everybody that did come out and did contact me and did call and email and let me know how they felt about it. And again, I listened to the people who contacted me. I listened to the town hall meetings. They were very adamant. They wanted to remain independent, and they were willing to give up going out and having breakfast 3 times a week to do that. So there was passion there. And we'll go forward. We still have a lot of decisions down the road to make, but we'll continue to go forward. And I just thank everybody. And I thank Cliff and everybody in the city who's worked very hard on this, and it might be a little disappointing to them at this point in time, but we'll get it done. So thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Voorhees.
To say that this was a easy decision, it was not. Many sleepless nights over this, but I was the one who brought it up about that we needed to hear from you, whether it be 120 people or 12,000 people. Didn't make any difference to me. I represent you, and that's how I needed to vote, and that's what I did. I want to thank Eric Rick for putting out on Facebook the information. That is the way in today's market, that's how information is disseminated. Eric did a great job of putting it out, answering questions right down the center. You didn't put your personal views one way or another. I appreciated it, Eric. And with that, once a Clemite, always a Clemite.
Thank you. Commissioner Menzer.
Every single member on this commission weighed the opportunity for either Great Lakes or building our own plant. It's not something that, we took lightly. We all did our homework. We all came to our, separate opinions. But again, this is what we're here for. Every single one of us studied this. Most of us went on the plant tour. We talked to each other. We talked to residents. Like Commissioner Dempsey said, I had people call me, text me, email me, and Facebook me. So opportunity to contact us is always out there. So you can always contact us for something. You can call City Hall and leave a message for us. But every single member of this commission, whether we voted yes today or whether we voted no, please know that we did our homework, that we read the reports, that we talked to people, and we came to whatever conclusion we did because we care about what happens in this city. We're not doing this. We're not sitting up on here in commission because we're making big bucks. We're here because we care and we have and we want to do the best job that we can. So here we are. We're rolling into Christmas. It's time to shop local, people. There is a contest going on in the county for shopping local. Take a picture of yourself, send it. You might win some money.
It's over. They just announced it
It
today.
ended today?
Yeah.
Well, Mickey,
But
that
still
was
shop
quick.
local.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. But anyway.
Well, shop local anyway.
Yeah, shop local anyway.
It's still there.
I went in, I was hanging around town a little bit on Saturday, and unfortunately, I went into Clementine's and bought myself a couple of treats, and I said, I've been good this week, so I deserve them, and I ate them both like I hadn't eaten in 20 years. But they were very good. And then I stopped into Paperback Writers and Weirdsville Records, and I had a little chat with both Lisa and Davey. And Davey actually had an album that he ordered for me. He ordered an old vinyl album. It was an old Bruce Springsteen cover that you just simply can't find anymore. But Davey shopped and found it, and took him about 3 weeks, but Davey found that. And so I picked that up. I stopped into Great Cuts and chatted I also ran real quick through the Nest, because when I go in the Nest, I had to leave my credit card in my pocket. We have some great businesses in our city that have really cool things for gifts. When I was in Paperback Writers, there was a family outside with, they were doing, that whole, what's that, Pokemon stuff. And this little boy was like turning circles. He was like so bored. And so I bought him a treat. If you haven't been to Weirdsville or Paperback Writers, they have new stuff in the store. They are carrying a line of self-care products and stuff, and they're way cool. But they also have some, candies and stuff to make up for the loss of Pops. So if you want really weird candy in a really weird plastic container that looks like an alien, go to Paperback Writers.
That was a really good sales pitch.
Yeah, isn't it cool? So please, if you're thinking about shopping for Christmas, go downtown. Anything you need, you can find. We have a lot of really great businesses, and we have some new ones that have started up. So stop in, say hello. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Campbell.
Again, thank you to everybody that showed up to the town halls. I appreciate everybody's opinions, and I hope that we will be able to move forward with what is going to be in the best interest of the citizens. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Hammond.
Just want to thank you, everyone, for coming out, attending the town halls. One person that I would like to thank is Kyle with AEW, who presented at the town halls, and he's not here tonight, but I do want to
double check.
Thank Kyle.
Thank you, Commissioner Fournier.
And I will reiterate, thank you to everyone. This was a really tough one, folks. And Rashida and I were talking earlier. It truly was a difficult decision. And obviously, we will get behind it all and do the best for the city, because that's why we are here, and especially behind the staff, because this is going to be a huge project for them. And I appreciate everything that they did to get us here as well. When we're talking local, I don't want you to forget the Art Center. The Art Center, when you buy there, you support the Art Center, and you support a local artist, because local artists that's who's displaying everything there, and they take home, the lion's share of any sale. So please don't forget the Art Center because it's a little jaunt down there from the business district. We stand out there and wave trying to get people in, but don't forget the Art Center.
The holiday market's Tuesday through Sunday?
It is.
Yes, Tuesday through Sunday.
Thank you.
All set, okay.
Wait.
Yeah, go ahead.
Tell us who won.
It wasn't anyone from,
What?
no, not this year.
That's
Well,
not right.
they didn't announce the people that won the gift cards. They said you would be notified by email, but the businesses that got the $1,000 grants, none of them were from Mount Clemens.
Do you know who got what businesses?
They were all out of Mount Clemens.
Okay.
Yeah, none of them were in Mount
All right.
Clemens. All right, so I too want to thank everyone, for coming to the town halls, and for the staff for putting those together at a short notice. They had about 4 work days that they had when we requested it to make it happen. So we want to thank them for jumping into action and making them a success. And there were some questions about how to publicize that. So we tried to do our best with using the tools that we had. We have a coat drive happening right now at Carnes Community Center. It will go to all local students or kids of all ages. We have we're accepting coats of infant sizes to adult sizes. So if you have any new coats to drop off, you can do that at the Carnes Community Center until December 9th. And if you are in need of a coat, on December 10th, they will be distributing those at Carnes Community Center. You can find out information about that program, plus all the other recreation programs, and that they're having at Carnes, and there is a new Mount Clemens Recreation Facebook page, so if you are on social media, make sure you like that page, because it is updating with a lot of brand new activities that we're having at Wilson, Carnes, and the Groesbeck Community Center. So we're bringing recreation back to life here in Mount Clemens, and so you don't want to miss these programs. They're going to be really great. Coffee talk I will have again this month. I don't think we have anything to talk about. So, Thursday, December 8th at Black Cat Coffee at 6:30 p.m. You can join us, and then Tuesday, December 13th at John's Family Grill at 9:30 a.m. So, hopefully one of those fits your time schedule, and I know December is a busy month, so we will hopefully see you there. And with that, I will entertain a motion to move to closed session, to consider collective bargaining strategies.
I move to enter closed session to consider collective bargaining strategies.
Support.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we'll take a 5-minute recess before going into closed session. Thank you. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mayor Krapp, I move that we adjourn.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Hearing none. Good night, everyone.